Welcome to Hopscotch-n-Jacks,
A podcast where we take our inner child
back to school to unpack and unlearn
the lessons that shaped us to better ourselves
and our futures. I'm Caryn.
And I'm Justis.
Let's go.
And now it's time for our morning announcements.
Netflix has announced the return of The Ultimatum Queer Love. Season 2 of the Sapphic-centered spinoff will begin on June 25th, with the back half appearing on July 2nd. I'm happy to report that they've doubled their Black representation for the second season, which means there'll be 2 Black women. Tune in for more drama, tears, and mess. Even though I don't watch much reality TV, I will do it for the ladies. I'm gonna do it for the culture.
So you didn't watch the first season?
I did.
You did? What did you think about it?
I thought the first season was messy. I was not planning on watching it, but I definitely, as people were talking about it, like so many of my friends were talking about it, they were talking about it on podcasts, talking about it on social media. I just had to watch. I had to see who was leaving, who kept leaving. I had to see.
Who was U-hauling?
Yes, well.
It didn't happen, but people did fall hard.
Yeah, no one, other than the one couple, only one couple is still together. Everyone else is broken up. The new couples that had been made on the show and the couples that came on the show together. Only 2 people are still together, still a couple.
Interesting.
Did you watch?
I did watch it. That's a messy situation to get yourself into. Just being out in the world in a relationship is hard. You can't even go to a club with your partner like, who you looking at? Looking at your eyes and then following them. So why go on the show?
Well, let me
see.
What's your view? What you looking
at? So to go on the show is just trouble. I love it how, and I'm pretty sure a lot of those relationships was probably more like 3 or 4 months in. Some of them may have been like a year or 2, but I don't think they were longer than 3 years of being together.
If I recall correctly, there was a couple that had been together for about 3 years, and the shortest anyone had been together was like a year. So it was like 1 to 3 years. My thing is, like, they were all very young. Most of them were very young. Like, the oldest person there was maybe like a 35. And everyone else was in their 20s. I'm like,
oh, yeah, there's
y'all
a lot
are
more
way
relationships.
too young.
There's a lot more relationships to go through.
Yeah, when you're 20, I don't know if you should be getting married at all. And if you have to give anybody an ultimatum, it's probably not going to work out because they got to want to be with you. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for a lot of heartache.
Yeah. Speaking of heartache.
Yeah.
I hate to do this, but I have to. It's important.
It is.
To shed some light on this. As we all know, with this new administration, they're really pushing immigration and deportation. And as of last weekend, the U.S. has stretched its reach here in California with ICE. There were some protests taking place last Friday, and over the weekend, things turned a little violent and riots began to break out against immigration. And in these riots, because of these riots, President Trump deployed 2,000 National Guards that landed in California early Sunday morning. Now, the protests continued to move forward. However, these National Guards were deployed here to establish law and order, which really went against what Governor Newsom wanted. And so it's interesting what's going on here in California. But I wanted to highlight, this is Pride Month. And Pride, as we had mentioned in our last episode, it started as a protest. It started as recognition and being acknowledged and having a safe place to live and be yourself. And it brought me back to an individual by the name of Andrew Hernandez. He fled Venezuela to seek asylum here in the United States. And the reason why he did that was because he was facing prosecution for his sexual orientation. Once he arrived here, he was sent to a detention center, and unfortunately there, he did have to experience some sexual harassment and other mistreatments under our umbrella here in the United States. Because of the evidence that he was able to bring and the paperwork and everything, his lawyer was very confident that he would have won his case and been granted asylum here in the United States. And unfortunately, he did not show up for that court hearing. And because he didn't show up, the questions went out to where is he? And this is when we found out that Trump had ordered ICE to put over 200 Hispanic-looking individuals on a plane and send them to El Salvador. Now, when they were put on this plane, they did not know exactly where they were going. He was just thinking he was going back to Venezuela. He was sent to one of the worst prisons in the world in El Salvador, which they conducted some really cruel inspections as well as shaving off his head, and he got beat up a few times. And all because of tattoos that he had on his hand, which were not associated to a gang that they keep trying to say he's affiliated with, but because of the administration misrepresenting what those tattoos actually meant. I wanted to bring this to the attention because life is lifing right now, right? This is Pride Month. There's other events going on at this time. There's freedoms that we take for granted. There's freedoms that we take for granted even now, knowing that freedoms are slowly being stripped away, even as I speak right now. Mm-hmm. But I thought this was something to bring to the table for discussion or to remind our viewers that there's some interesting administrative actions taking place that we need to continue to speak up. All I'm saying is that we need to show up for those that cannot show up for themselves, especially when we have the platform and at this time while we still are able to. I'm willing to speak up for those who are less fortunate than me, speak up for those who are marginalized. I am African American. I'm also gay in the community, and I'm also a woman. So everything that is happening to those who some people say, hey, it's not in my backyard, it doesn't affect me, it does affect us. It affects all of us. So I just want to bring this to everyone's attention again, because this is Pride Month. That was built off of protests, to be heard, to be seen, to be valued. And this gentleman needs to be brought back home, along with all others who have been wrongfully deported. Yeah, that's how I feel about this. It's also bringing me back to George Floyd days, and it's a little trigger for me, everything that's happening. So yeah.
This is hard because the thing about it is I don't know what his status was when he was deported. Like, he was supposed to be given a trial, right?
Yeah, and he was supposed to show up to trial. And they had all the evidence that proved that he deserved to win his case to get asylum. So even though it has nothing to do with what his status was, the fact is that he was following the law and he was doing what he was supposed to do, and then he just gets deported.
Right.
And that's why a lot of people are afraid to show up to the courts, because there are ICE and immigration police officers just waiting in the courthouse. There's one judge that got arrested because she escorted the individual through the back of the courthouse so that they wouldn't get deported.
Right.
So
this is someone who had already been given the right to stay.
Yes, he was going, I think they were going, I don't know what the story is for this other individual, but they were just ready to take him, without due process. And that's the problem. It's like, it's all about due process, and the president doesn't believe in due process.
Right.
I mean, he's the president and he's a convict. He's a felon.
Right.
I mean, he's the president, he's a felon himself.
How dare he? That's crazy.
And he's known for taking people to court to sue and do all this stuff. So how can you not give somebody due process when you are using the courts to win cases or judges to overturn things so that you can have your way? Yeah.
This man and his administration does not care about the rights of the people nor the wishes of the people. That is what's unfortunate and very obvious to anyone who's paying attention. And it should have been obvious to anyone who paid attention prior to electing this man. We are in this boat because we have let a deranged man in the highest position in the land. That's what's so unfortunate about this. I don't see any light at the end of this tunnel, which is why I try to avoid paying attention to this. And it's kind of terrible because I believe in what you say. My birthday twin said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I think that is true. And there's like a parable about if you didn't stand up because it wasn't affecting you, then at the end of that parable, at some point they're gonna come for you too, and come for your rights. So I believe that we have to work together to fight this stuff. And it's disheartening. It's very sad. It's very, I don't know. It doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you proud to be an American. Not me. I can't speak for other people though. If this is what you voted for or did not vote to stop, then you reap what you sow, and everybody else has to suffer for that. And I think that it's very sad. It's hard to know that this is happening, not just to Andre, if that's how you say his name. I'm sorry, I don't know the exact way to say his name.
Andre or Andre? Yeah.
Right. Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez. Sorry.
If I hope that he gets an opportunity to return and have his trial and be allowed to stay. This is it's terrible what happened to him. It's absolutely, my heart breaks for the pain that he's gone through. The fact that he was escaping a homophobic country, and he got here and was sexually assaulted and then beaten and then taken to one of the worst prisons. The way I've heard they treat their inmates is insane in El Salvador. And I hope that, he has an angel watching over him, and he gets to find a safe place, wherever that might be.
And hopefully he'll be able to share his story.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to hear it from him, and how he was able to survive. That's how I'm going to look at it. It's going to be a survival story. And speaking of stories, I think it's story time.
Oh, story time.
Yay.
Well, So I have a love-hate relationship with dresses and skirts that to this day, I am still unpacking. I grew up wearing them. Schools in New Orleans required uniforms, so I was in plaid skirts from kindergarten to junior high. At church, I was always in dresses because they didn't make dress pants for little girls. And women weren't supposed to wear pants in church. Every Sunday, despite telling the congregation that they could come as they were, what they really meant was come as you are until you accept Christ. Then we want you to come in skirts. I didn't experience gender dysphoria when I was wearing skirts or dresses. What I hated was all the rules they came with. I was told to keep your legs closed or cross your ankles. I had to be careful walking upstairs. I couldn't sit on the floor or play outside. And on top of that, the shoes they came with usually pinched or made it very difficult to run, which was my only mode at the time. Honestly, the shoes were the biggest downside. I was told that I could get used to the pain, that beauty was pain. The one good thing that came with dresses was the compliments. I was never complimented more than when I was in a nice dress or my hair was long and straight. If I was wrapped in the trappings of femininity, I was called pretty, and my dress was pretty, and people wanted to steal it from me, even though they were way too big to wear my dress. In contrast, if I was in shorts and my skin knees were showing, there were no compliments flying in my way, except in appreciation for my manners or my grammar. As I got older, dancing in a club in a skirt made you more likely to get disrespected and felt up, so I didn't wear them often. Over time, I've completely phased them out of my wardrobe, and today I don't wear them at all. As I said, I'm still unpacking the ideas that pretty is associated with femininity and what that means for me as a woman. I often think about what I'll wear to my wedding, whether I'll choose the discomfort of a dress, high heels, and a full face of makeup for the compliments and approval nods from my elders, or if I'll choose pants or, in a sense, choose myself. I don't know yet because, as Natasha Bedingfield said, the rest is still unwritten.
That's interesting because, so I hated wearing dresses too. For the same reason, similar, but it also, like I watched, my mom's very attractive, and any tight fitting clothes, or even when she wasn't wearing something that was very complimentary to her figure, I would watch men yell at her, whistle at her in front of her kids. This one guy, we went to this festival, and they started yelling, whistling at her, and then this one guy came up behind her and grabbed her ass. And she was trying to get my sister and I up front, and she was like, not in front of my kids, please, not in front of my kids. And he was just sexually harassing her. And I stayed back because she's my mom. And so for me, I didn't like how women were treated when they were wearing dresses and tight-fitted clothes. So I always wore baggy clothes. And that helped me get from point A to point B, but guys is still going to be guys. But that was one of the things that I thought wasn't fair. It's like I felt like we didn't have that extra sense of security. If you're in a dress, everything is open for someone to take advantage of you.
Yep.
And so that was my thing growing up. Even as a kid, I could see that. And to this day, I don't understand why society thinks that's okay. I mean, if anyone should be wearing a dress, is a guy, because he's the one that has to pull something out to pee, It's like,
Right.
wouldn't it be easier for him to lift a skirt?
But in some cultures, there are wearing,
skirts, yeah.
They call them kilts.
Kilts?
In other languages, it might be something else, but this is the only, I wouldn't say this is the only side. Western society has a vendetta against skirts and men in skirts. But other societies, like Asian societies, like it's not just Scotland and, some African tribes that might have men in skirt-like attire.
Yeah. But so I struggle with it because I don't feel like the woman's in clothes that can protect her.
Oh yeah, I felt the same way. Like the exposure. I don't like it.
Like I'm like, if I have to close my legs while I'm sitting down or cross at the ankles or be weary of how I'm walking up the stairs, then shouldn't I just have on pants?
Yeah. But they don't want that. They want us to be in that position.
Yeah.
They want us to be trapped in femininity. But we're going to get more to that. We're going to get more into that a little later in the episode when we get to our core curriculum.
Yep.
But in the meantime, if you have a story you want to share with the pod, write to us at hopscotchnjackspod@gmail.com with story time in the subject, and we may use your story in a future episode. So today, our core curriculum is gender studies. Justis?
And we are going to try to answer some questions and try to navigate gender studies and figure out why is God considered a he. So let's get into what is gender studies. So what is gender? Think of gender studies as a field that explores how society shapes our understanding of male, female, and all other gender identities. It asks questions like, what does society tell us about how men or women should act? Those are social lessons, not just biology, right? And then it also gets into how does our gender identity impact our experiences in the world, from childhood to careers, even how we express our emotions. You got me feeling emotions.
Deeper than I ever can tell.
Whoa, whoa. And how does gender connect to power? Who holds it? Who doesn't? And how does that create inequalities? Crucially, gender studies shows us gender isn't fixed or natural. It's something society creates, and it changes over time and across cultures. Essentially, it's about critically looking into the rules and realities of gender to build a more fair and inclusive world. In addition, how does this impact our inner child? You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, my friend.
All right, my friend.
And I think that speaks to gender expression and the fact that we were assigned gender expression at birth because before we had any choice whatsoever, the doctors generally would look at our genitalia and say, this one is blue and this one is pink. And we were swaddled in those colors. Probably our parents dressed us in that way. Girls got little dresses, little skirts, and boys got baseball hats. We, as girls, got little bows in our hair, and boys, it depends on when you were growing up. I was just thinking about the fact that girls got our ears pierced, and the boys got one.
And it had to be the left side, not the right side.
Really?
Yeah, there was a thing, if you got your right ear pierced, you were gay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do know parents with boys with both ears pierced, so I wonder if they heard that rule.
And he was like, let's just do both of them, then you'd be bi.
Well, the point is, if your parents are choosing, you're not getting a choice.
Yeah.
And that's what's unfortunate. The thing about gender expression is not necessarily how we identify. It is more about how we want to present to the world. So as an adult, we have the opportunity, or usually at some point during adolescence, you start to break out of those things. I was talking to my mom about this recently, about how as a kid, I hated wearing ruffles and lace or silk or anything that was very, very feminine. I didn't have I didn't have a problem wearing the dresses outside of, but if it was Easter, I want a pretty dress.
I just wanted to go find the eggs.
I feel you.
And the candy.
But my mom was, I mean, in a different time, she might have been like someone in fashion. She used to dress me to the nines.
Okay.
You know, so I like those times in which I got to be the pretty girl and all of that stuff. But when I was old enough to buy my own stuff, I never bought those things. I didn't buy those things. I only sought out things that I felt made me comfortable.
And that makes sense. I did the same thing because I always felt like I was being put in a box that wasn't really identifying with who I was.
Yeah.
So when I had the opportunity to start wearing the clothes, I remember one time I was talking to a friend of my father's, and he didn't have any hair on his legs. It's a little weird. He didn't have hair on his legs.
Because you were used to men who had hair.
And so I was like, how come you don't have hair on your legs? And he was like, he's from New York and everything. And it was because his understanding was because he wore pants all the time and jeans all the time. So he was like, yeah, so I never really had hair. So as a kid in my head, I'm like, you know what? That's going to be my excuse for wanting to wear pants because I don't want to have to shave. I don't want all that hair growing on my legs. I swear it became my thing. And I was like, I don't know, in my head, I was like, if I continue to wear pants, I would never have to shave and I'll never get that nasty hair on my legs. I don't like hair.
So you're saying that the jeans would, or whatever pants, would keep hair off of your legs?
Yeah, it was, I don't know if that's true or not.
It's not my experience.
That's what was told to me. But long story short, I used that as an excuse of always wanting to wear pants because instead of saying I want to wear pants because this is how this is how I like to show up and this is how I feel comfortable, I was like, I don't want to have to shave.
Yeah. I used to say...
That's the most dumbest thing. Now that I hear myself saying that.
I wasn't going to say that. I support you, friend.
Hey, I was a kid. You
Absolutely.
gotta think of a little kid's mind.
Yeah.
And that was as an adult, thinking about my inner child, I was like, oh, you're so precious.
Yeah. Oh my, aren't you just adorable?
Thank God you got a pretty smile.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, I'm with you on that. One of the reasons I wear pants all the time is because I don't always shave. I actually don't have a lot of hair. It's funny.
On your legs?
Anywhere.
Think about it.
What?
I was trying to see if it worked.
No.
I don't have that. Listen, I don't grow hair on my legs either.
I grow hair. I'm just saying it's just very thin. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not obvious, unless you rubbing against my leg, you might not feel it. I've definitely gotten you gonna shave soon or?
I haven't had that problem. My hair is when was the last time? No.
Right?
Right? No, actually never got the question if I'm going to shave soon. But I have been with people where it starts growing in and it's like all prickly, like a freaking porcupine.
Yes.
And I'd be like, ow, I gotta go take care of that.
Could you please?
Could you please?
Could you please? But yeah, I think it's very interesting. Like I was about to go into the hair question. We didn't talk about whether or not we were going to talk about hair.
Well, talk about it. What did you have about the hair question?
No, I was just thinking about the expectation for femme women to shave. And I don't know what the expectation is for masculine women, whether or not they're expected to shave.
I think they should.
Masculine women should shave?
I think men and women
Everybody.
should shave. Look, it is, okay.
What about non-binary people? Do they escape this rule?
No, I think, listen, if hair's growing underneath your arms, now listen, I know it's there to help keep areas
I want to be
clean.
Clear. It's about protection.
Protection, but it also holds a lot of odor.
It can.
And if you're using certain type of deodorant bars, that stuff builds up. And some people be raising their hand and they have like a ball of deodorant.
They're not taking care of themselves. That's the problem.
And even if you don't want to shave, you could trim it. It's like it doesn't need to be. like how you cut your ends, like cut that shit. Make it all even. You got some stragglies here. And then when they're sweating, it's like, oh my God. Just think about it. I'm not a hair person. I like hair on your head. I love hair on your head. But
Gender, Justis,
yeah.
how do you identify? Are you masc, femme, androgynous? What do you call yourself?
I am a tomboy.
Okay.
See, most people would say you're a stud and a femme. So therefore you're a STEM.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like being called a STEM. I like being called tomboy.
Why?
Because if we can make up new names and everything, that's my new identity, tomboy. I don't want to be called masc, femme, or STEM. I want to be called tomboy.
Okay.
With the I, tomboy.
Okay. Wow.
I am a mix between femme and masc. I can rock, like I don't mind wearing makeup.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind having to dress up every once in a while. I love my figure, so, well, we're at odds nowadays. But, you know, I don't mind wearing clothes that are tight-fitted and allow me to showcase my
goodies.
My goodies. But I'm also about the baggy clothes, too. You know, so I can switch it up. If I'm in a relationship, I would probably be more of the masculine role in a relationship versus the femme role, whatever that means. So maybe that means listen, although I am about protecting women and everything, I don't mind seeing a woman dressed up. I like seeing feminine women. I love seeing women who can be more girly than I. They probably will be when we go to dinner or go out and everything like that. You don't have to wear heels. I understand. I had to wear heels and they hurt. And I don't believe beauty should be pain. But don't show up in no Crocs either. Unless we're walking around the house. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
What about you? What about you, my friend? How do you like to show up on your dates?
But so here's my thing about masculinity, femininity. I've never been one for labels, but most people would call me a STEM the same way. I remember when I got my locks done, I was walking down the street and I ran into an associate, someone who I wouldn't really call a friend, but someone who I see out every once in a while and we talk. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, oh my God, I love your locks, but why did you get these locks?
What?
She was like, why didn't you get them thicker? Why didn't you get regular locks? And I was like, because I wanted these. And when I think about it, I thought about it after, and I was like, because I thought these were more feminine. And it's important for me to maintain. So yes, I feel like the expectation that because I have a more masculine energy, I'm supposed to have a more masculine appearance. I think that's a little odd. Because in this community especially, and this is someone I'm talking about who is in the community, someone who is a lesbian, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think that it makes sense that we have taken on the heteronormative way of living. Like we expect people to be in these boxes of heteronormativity. Why would I, because I have a more masculine energy, which I don't know what that, I can only guess that it seems more protective and it seems more someone, I don't know. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we do that?
In the gay community?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, is it because of protection? Is it because I'm good at taking care of myself? And so if I'm taking care of myself, I'm playing both roles. And, you know, I can put things together. You know, it's like what's considered a masculine role would be building something, right? Or doing things like that. And then what's considered a female role is to cook and clean. I don't know why when we get into relationships, it's like, okay, I'm the masculine one and then you're the femme one. I don't know why we do that. I think that's more of a personality. You have some people who are more alphas and some people who are more betas. I really don't know a good answer for that. Other than maybe that's just how we were brought up in society and it's just been adapted. I don't really know. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't know. I can't answer that question for you.
The funny thing about it is I am someone who doesn't believe in gender roles. I think gender roles should not play a part in any relationship, really, but specifically in relationships between two women or two men. It doesn't make sense to me. Or two non-binary people, because a lot of what you just said are things that adults should be doing. You taking care of yourself is you being an adult.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. I also agree with thinking about my past relationship. Things were 50-50. There was no, I'm the man of the house, so therefore I'm going to do this.
Because you're not a man.
I'm talking about playing the role.
Yeah.
Follow along with me. It was just, I was good at doing this, so that's what I did. She was good at doing that, so that's what she did. But everything, it wasn't an expectation, you know? So I guess the type of relationships that I've been in, even though I have dated women who are more feminine and they sometimes put on the role like I'm the lady, blah, 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 open the door, do all that stuff. I tend to fall for people who are more equal and we both can step up to the plate and help and do the things that needs to get done. And that has nothing to do with a role. That just has to do with being an adult in a relationship and showing up for the relationship. I don't know why. I just think that growing up, we were taught by other generations that our genders had very rigid expectations. Especially in relationships. So if we're growing up and we're being told that men are supposed to be the breadwinners and women are expected to be the caretakers, that is something that we have seen in heterosexual relationships, even though sometimes those roles have switched in today's world. So therefore, as a person of the gay community, those norms that have been taught to us is now transitioning over. So why have we adapted them? I think it's just one of those things that we were raised that way. And if we're raised that way, we start practicing. If I'm going to be the mask, I'm going to pursue you. But let me tell you this. I don't really pursue women.
Say more.
I don't pursue. If I go to a club, you've seen me at the clubs. I'm just hanging out with my friends. I might bat an eye or wink at someone, but the girl usually comes up to me and talk. And they do that because I don't really feel comfortable going up and be like, hey, how you doing? I really don't feel comfortable doing that.
Why is that?
I don't know, maybe it's like I don't want to get rejected or I don't want to come up and say the wrong thing. It has everything, it doesn't have anything to do with confidence. It just has to do with, I don't know, you know, and like in the dating apps, you know, you can like a picture or something like that. And then you can start a conversation and it's a little bit easier to conversate via dating app. But once you start talking to people, it becomes a whole nother story. So for me, I feel more comfortable being in the club, hanging out with my friends. And if a person comes up to me, they come up to me and I talk. But we went to the, what was it? No, that was me and Shelby. We were at a club and there was an attractive woman dancing and she was clearly dancing with a gay guy. And the gay guy was pretending like they were together. I was like, dude, you guys are not together. You're so gay. Like, come on, bro.
He could have been bi.
No. And she made eyes and all that type of stuff. And so I was trying to get in to like try to talk. And then when I knew I was going to try to talk to her, he said something to her and they went away. And then I saw them when I came out the club. And I said, so you can smile at me, bat your eyes, but then you run away? And she goes, I was like, it's okay. I know that's not your guy. I was like, I know that's your gay friend. And she goes, well, technically I'm with his brother.
Okay, so he was protecting his,
her.
Brothers.
Yeah, he was protecting the girl. So I appreciated that. And so then she goes to me, she goes, but. I go, but what? She goes, I am interested. I go, so you're with his brother and you're interested. And I said something to her. I just kissed her on her hand. And she was like, okay, you just made me wet. I was like, well, you can tell your boyfriend he's welcome. And I just left, because I'm like, I don't play those games.
Right.
And it's just, so I don't know if I do make the first move, I'm talking to somebody they're just
in a relationship with somebody else.
Yeah. So I guess that's one of the reasons why I don't really, in those type of scenes, I don't really try to pursue something.
I hear you, and yet you say you want to meet somebody in the wild. Interesting. So you're setting
aisle.
Yeah, but you're setting yourself up for not finding what you want because you keep setting these parameters that you are moving.
What am I moving?
Don't move the goalposts.
How am I moving the goalposts?
You say you want to meet somebody in the wild, out in public, and yet you don't go out and speak to people in public. We don't have to get stuck on it.
You know what? You're right, but I'm not also going out in public in the right environment, in my opinion, to meet someone. Like going to a club and trying to talk to somebody in a club after they had a few drinks. So I'm trying to be...
Okay.
Sometimes
you want to be picky.
You know what? No, you're the picky one. You're the Capricorn here.
It is what it is. I didn't say I wasn't picky. I said you're being picky.
Okay, I'm being picky.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So you said a couple of things that I wanted to respond to specifically. What did you say about... fuck. See, I gotta jump in there.
Just like I gotta jump in there at the clubs, apparently.
Hilarious.
Do not pass me by.
Okay, now we're going to church?
Well, it just came to my head. You know
All right.
what I do. I'm like some weird-ass karaoke head right
All
here.
right. So, but here's my thing about pursuing women in public. I don't generally do that.
Why not, friend?
I don't do it because I have been pursued in public by men, and I generally don't like it or appreciate the attention. Just being real, unless I literally am like, you are someone I would give my phone number to, I don't want you to talk to me.
So is it because the guy is doing that? What if a female came and pursued you?
I mean, that would depend on whether or not I wanted to talk to her, but I also don't feel like I am going to have a problem rejecting her. Rejecting men is something that might come with, verbal abuse. No.
Damn, verbal abuse? Why would you be verbally abusive to them?
I would not be verbally abusive to them, but they would be verbally abusive to me rejecting them.
So you don't want to be in a situation where you pursue somebody.
And they don't want to be pursued.
Got it.
So
and then they might verbally abuse you.
No, it's not about that. Like literally, I said that I would not have that issue with a woman, but I don't want to pursue a woman and then make her uncomfortable. So it's a thing. It is what it is. And I'm really terrible at the eye contact thing. I'm usually like, oh, this is weird. Why are you looking at me? Don't look at me. I'm really terrible at it. I just want to be real with you. I'm just, you looking in my eyes and I'm just like, was it something on my face? What the fuck? I don't know. Hey friend, is she looking at me? But, I'm bad at it. Meeting someone in the wild is setting myself up for failure. I much prefer the apps where you like me, I like you, and we just gonna talk until we stop talking, because that's how that goes generally. Unfortunately, that's how that goes.
Yeah.
Anywho, you said something else that I wanted to respond to, but I don't remember what it is. So we just keep it going until
we might loop around.
Yeah, we
back
might.
To it.
I mean, this whole conversation is about gender, so we might come back around to it.
All right. So, what do you feel about how we treat each other?
I think it's very interesting, the difference between the genders and how we treat each other. Like we were talking a few days ago about the fact that men have been pushed by their ladies to contact their friends to say goodnight. And we're seeing these videos on Instagram of these women giggling in the background as their men call their male friends to say goodnight, and how these men come back and respond like they're offended that you would ever call them and say goodnight. Like, or they're asking, "Are you okay? Is there something wrong?" Whereas, right, I mean, the videos are really funny to me, but it highlights something that is very wrong with our society, and that men feel like they can't do that. Like that is completely out of the bounds of propriety, I guess. Like, don't call me. Like a couple of them was literally like, "Don't call me with this. Like, you want me to think about you when I go to sleep tonight?" But women, I don't think we would have that same reaction, would you?
I mean, if it's not someone I'm dating, a friend just calling to say, just wanted to call and say goodnight.
I call you and say goodnight. You gonna be upset about me? You gonna be upset about that?
I'm gonna be like, "Why are you calling me and saying
would
goodnight?"
You? I don't think you would.
I would say this. Call me.
Hey, Justis.
Oh wait, no, I didn't hear the phone ring. It needs to ring. Keep ringing. Why is Caryn calling me? Hello?
What up, ho?
Why are you calling me late at night like this, girl? I'm already in bed. And why are you laughing?
Hey, friend. I was just calling to say goodnight.
Shut up, Oreo. Why are you calling to say goodnight?
I was just going to sleep, and I was thinking about you and everything that's going on. And, I just want you to know that I'm here for you. And I was thinking about you, and I just want you to have a good night so you can wake up refreshed,
Okay. This is weird, but okay. I appreciate you for doing that.
Good night, my friend. I switched to a different phone because my phone doesn't do this. My phone does this.
Good night, my friend.
Good night, friend.
Those fucking dogs.
They were like, "Hey, what the fuck?" All right.
Okay. Anywho, I would. I don't know. I guess. I mean, you know what? If we just hung out and I had to drive home, we do call each other and say, "I made it home. Good night," and stuff like that. It's great. But if I already know you're already in your bed and I'm already in my bed.
And we're probably going to sleep at a very different time. I'm usually, "Hey, friend, I'm calling to say good night because I'm going to sleep. Do not text me." Good night. Because you're going to be up till midnight.
Or later.
Yeah.
I feel you.
That's more likely what's going to happen.
And I'll just be saying, I was calling to say good night and good morning. Because it's
morning time. Exactly. Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, so we've talked a little bit about gender expression and the gender roles that society expects of us. But we wanted to talk a little bit about gender identity. For most people, Their gender identity aligns with the sex that they were assigned at birth, and we call those folks cisgendered. For people who are not cis, the sex they were assigned at birth is not in alignment with their gender identity. They identify as transgender, agender, and non-binary. Those are the options, I guess. So far, that's what we have so far. The reinforcement of our gender identity by society helps us to accept our authentic self and love our authentic self as well. Without it, we may experience gender dysphoria, which contributes to the high rates of self-harm and suicide in our community. What I mentioned earlier, that I'd never, even though I don't like wearing dresses, I've never experienced gender dysphoria. They do include discomfort in it, but I think that, speaking as a cis woman, I think that it is possible that the dysphoria, the discomfort is much greater than what I felt. I felt like society is putting this pressure on me to put on this dress, and this dress comes with these rules, and there are these expectations, and I want to reject all of those things. But I still identify as a woman. My gender identity, my expression, and all of that stuff can be inclusive of womanhood.
Yeah.
I want to reject those things because as a woman, I don't think that I should have to accept or move in a way that you approve of. The hell.
What the hell?
But what's interesting about that is that at one point, I would tell people that I am gender non-conforming when it comes to relationships. And a lot of people are like, what does that mean? What does that mean? Now, I've talked about it already, so I'm not going to, spend a lot of time on this. But in my opinion, the way I move in relationships, I didn't mention this before. This is the thing that I forgot to say.
Okay.
Because you said something about you move in a 50-50 way. And when we did the video for Pride, and we might have some Pride videos at the end of this episode too, because we asked the folks what they thought about pronouns and what they thought about dating and whatnot. And there was a couple who was like, who do you think? Asked who out. And I was like, just 5 minutes of spending time with you, the two of you, I think the femme one, the more femme one, is probably the one who asked you out. Why? Because she is not moving like this demure, prim and proper lady. She's moving like she was aggressive. She was like, I want you.
And that's what happened.
And she said, and she agreed. They both said that, the more femme one was the one who was asking, who did the asking. And I think that more femmes should do that. That's simply what this whole episode was, so that I could say
what's interesting,
more femmes should do the pursuing.
Well, what's interesting too is that I've heard that a lot of femmes are the more aggressive ones in the relationship sometimes. Like you have a mask looking female.
Oh yeah.
But the one that is the mask in the relationship is the female.
She's the bottom, actually.
Is a role reversal in the bed and everything. So it's interesting. It is what it is.
It's an interesting dichotomy.
Yeah, it is.
I think that is very is very prevalent in our society, in which just because you are wearing the pants out in the streets does not mean you're wearing the pants in the sheets.
Or in the sheets. She had to look at you rhyming.
I was rhyming.
You just needed a hip hop beat.
Don't wear the pants in the streets.
We're so 1980s.
If you can't wear the pants in the sheets. Boom, boom.
That sounds like some type of 1990s.
I was never meant to be a rapper, but you know,
just play one on TV.
If I could just have one single that goes platinum, I would retire immediately. I would love it. Thank you. Please make that happen. If anyone has a beat and some lyrics, that'd be great. I might fuck up the performance a little bit, but maybe you'll find that endearing. But anyway, did we do it, my friend?
I think we did it. I mean, did you hear that? It's after school.
It's after school. We take a dip in the pool. You're supposed to take the rest of that, but I guess she's doing sign language.
I did the choreography after school. Wait, what is it?
It doesn't matter. What are you working on, my friend?
Explain basketball.
Yes.
Like you didn't finish.
I did not.
Damn it.
Sorry.
I'm working on mastering the art of communication.
Is it hard?
It is hard.
It is so hard. Why is that?
Hard. So, I haven't really been dating.
You haven't?
Haven't been in the dating apps. And I've told you I got back into it.
Uh-huh.
So I've been dating, talking.
Okay.
And
just want to make sure.
I'm trying to communicate. And it's hard to communicate with
Find
people.
somebody who's not an Aquarius.
It's like everything I say is being analyzed. I was like, damn, all I said was I need to go pee, but it was how you said it.
But where was you enunciating?
Yeah, what was that punctuation like? It's really hard at times, and I don't know why. It's like, wait, what did I say? And then when you hear it back, it's like, nope. You listen to what they heard or how they interpreted, and it's like, wow, that's not even the area. And it's like the last thing, you said the last thing you want anyone to think is that they're being gaslit, but then it's like you just took one thing that I've said, don't know anything about me, and you created a whole analytical that was my watch, y'all.
Charge before you go to bed.
No. It said it's bedtime.
Oh,
7:14 p.m. That's what I used.
Did you get my bedtime?
8 p.m. It said, take your ass to bed. But it's one of those things where it's like, I know I can analyze things, but I've learned that a lot of times when you build something up in your head, it's not really what it is. And you make it worse. So I've been trying not to do that. And I'm really trying to figure out what is going on.
How did we get here?
How did we get here?
Okay, that's enough. So here's the thing. I think
nobody wants to be here.
Not in this place. No. I think that the one thing I'll share with you is I'm going to butcher the quote, but it's something to the effect of people don't see you. They see they see you through their own trauma. That's not it. It is something to the effect of, they're not looking at you. They're looking at their trauma. They're looking at you through their trauma. So whatever it is that they're putting on you that you have not earned, that's them. It's not you. So I would not spend too much time worried about how did we get here? This doesn't make sense and yada, yada, yada. Oh, this is people who need to heal, who need to do that on themselves before they bring their trauma to you. Which is one of the reasons why I'm like, you don't need to be in the dating pool fucking us up with your tetanus. Keep your tetanus over there. And, but yeah. I think you've just been attracting a lot of unhealed bullshit.
Yeah. So what are you working on? Speaking of bullshit.
I'm not working on bullshit.
No, it's just a good lead-in. Even if it wasn't,
you love a segue.
I love it.
You love a segue. So here's so what I'm working on currently is puzzles. I was talking with my therapist, and we're talking about the fact that this is terrible, my friend. This is terrible. I have been, we lost the light. We're going to lose that light because we're almost done.
I can throw another one in.
No, it's fine. I am okay. I am okay without the light. So my issue is that, stop. My issue is that I have been replacing one bad habit with another. And so I need to nip that shit in the bud. I'm not going to go into detail, but I need to nip that shit in the bud. And I have bought puzzles. And they are on the way. I should have them by Wednesday.
Is that Amazon?
No, I went to a Black-owned store called Be Rooted. And, hopefully this is not a promo of people who are not going to get me my puzzles on time. But yeah, I went to BeRooted.com and I bought some puzzles, and I'm going to spend the evenings doing puzzles because I've not been honoring my diet and nutrition the way that I'm supposed to be, because I'm trying to compensate not doing something else, essentially.
Alrighty.
Yeah, you probably know, but we're not going to say this on this podcast because the world don't need to know.
You guys don't need to know everything.
You don't. But yeah, I'm going to be working on some puzzles for a while. And I'm going to be doing that for self-care as well. Well, I bought 500-piece puzzles, so I don't imagine I'm going to get them done in a short amount of time. So
nice.
Yeah. What are you doing for self-care?
For self-care, I mentioned that I had gone on a hike last time for my self-care, and I was able to have some closure. And I realized this week that closure that I thought I had, I still think I have it, but I need to make sure I have it. And that's all I'm saying about that.
Okay. We'll wait till we hit end before I say anything.
Let's just keep moving.
Time capsule. So I'll go first.
Yeah, that's great.
You're welcome. Yeah. So for my time capsule item, I'm going to actually pull out a character. Maybe it's technically pulling out a sitcom. But in Saved by the Bell, I identified with a character. Even though there was a Black character on the show, it was only when Tori showed up in Saved by the Bell that I felt like, this is somebody I can identify with. Which is weird because I didn't recognize that I enjoyed the company of women.
But Tori wasn't gay on the show.
She wasn't gay.
She just gave signals.
She was just a tomboy who loved leather jackets and told boys to go F themselves in a PG manner.
I remember that character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I super, super enjoyed Tori. I did not know where Kelly and Jesse went. And, I've since looked it up, and I know that they did not sign on to do additional episodes after they did their season or series finale. It was a contract issue, and they brought Tori in. And Lark Boris.
2 women.
Yeah. It'll take a gay to replace 2 straight women. But she wasn't actually gay in the show. I'm sure she was gay by the time she was out of college, because she was given major gay.
Even Zach couldn't keep her straight.
Exactly. That's the point. And I had major crushes on Zach, Slater, and Tori, which is crazy. Also, I didn't have a major crush on Lisa.
I didn't.
But I always wanted Lisa to end up with it. I don't know
with
what
who? With the girl?
No. With Zach. Because he was the lead in the show, give her more screen time. That's how I was thinking about things.
Didn't she date Dimples? What was his name?
Slater? She did not.
Who dated? Oh,
Jesse.
Jesse dated Slater.
Yeah.
Then who did her character, Lisa, date?
Lisa didn't really date anybody. Screech had it was very racist.
Yes.
Screech had a major crush on Lisa, but I would have been pissed off if they'd have actually gotten together. Big time. But she dated Zach for 1 episode, and then Tori Zach was always in love with Kelly. This is way too much. The point is, I enjoyed how very androgynous and gay-coded Tori was. She was absolutely one of my favorite characters growing up, even though she was only on 10 episodes. Like, I would watch any Tori episode that came on in the morning while I was getting dressed or whatever.
How's she doing?
Through college.
How's she doing now as an adult in the industry?
Tori? Oh, yeah. The actress.
The actress. What's her name? Lena?
It's Leanna Creel, I think. She's one of a set of triplets. I also enjoyed the movie that they did on Disney Channel.
So you enjoyed the triplets?
Hilarious. I don't actually think I was attracted to her, though. I just wanted to be her. It's the same way as Xena. Same way I felt about Xena. I just wanted to be these strong women. I did not want to be with them. I did want Tori and Lisa to get together. So that was a thing.
I wrote my own episode.
How did I not know?
I don't know.
The suppression, girl. Do you have a time capsule item? Let's keep vamping and see if she comes up with one, because she did not have one.
Wow, you didn't have one last week.
I came up with one, though.
You did come up with one. Let me.
She's gonna come up with some scotch. You know what? I want to put all the time capsule. A bottle of scotch.
I'm gonna for my time capsule, I'm bringing out my bike.
Okay, it's a bicycle.
I remember when I learned how to ride a bicycle. My father at the time, it was on training wheels and would push me, you know. And then the training wheels came off, and it was like push, and then you just had to go. And then if you fell, you had to get back up. Fall, you get back up. Got some scraped knees from it. But what I remember from that was when I finally got it. Like, he was happy, I was happy. It was that joy, it was that moment of accomplishing something. And that key message of when you fall, you need to get back up.
Yeah.
And you continue, in order to continue to keep it moving, you have to keep pedaling through life. So it connects back to my, like, the things that I have gone through at this stage in my life. There was one time that I fell and I didn't get back up in years, right? And I lost myself in that. And I spent a few years trying to discover who I was again and get to know her. And so now that I know myself, even though I surprise myself every once in a while, and I'm like, what? I think that way? Okay.
Okay.
You know, I'll be like, okay. But what I've learned this year specifically is that I have to keep pedaling. I know last year I wanted to give up a few times. I fell off the bike a few times. And so right now I'm just pedaling through it. So, like, everything that I'm trying to do, the purpose is so that I can get to where I need to be. And that's my time capsule.
Okay, I'm with you. I love that. That was a very good item that you pulled out of your ass. That's amazing.
Haters are gonna hate.
No, for real, friend. I think that's great. Now, I want you to get that bike on the street. Be careful. Mm-hmm. But get that bike on the street. And you will not be down for long. You will always get back up, because that's your spirit. I see it in you. And I believe in you, my friend.
Yeah. So what do we got for homework, my friend?
For homework, for you all, I want you to follow us. We want you to follow us at hopscotchnjackspod on Instagram. Write to us at hopscotchnjackspod@gmail.com with story time in the subject, and we may use your story for an episode.
Yes. And then if you want to get to know us personally, you can always reach me at Art of Justis. That's with the IS, not an ICE, on Instagram. And you can reach
Caryn. Caryn got this. I do the third person only because she points at me, and I'm just like, it's me? I guess I could say V, but I feel like I need to say Caryn.
No, I like, you're supposed to say Caryn.
Caryn got this on Instagram because I'm pretty much nowhere else. I've been lying to you for months. I'm no longer on anything else.
We're just keeping it simple, and then you can like, comment,
Please,
subscribe, and
let the people know.
Below.
Make sure you share.
Share. Sharing is caring.
Sharing is Caryn.
Oh, wow. Did you see what she did right there?
My mama does that to me all the time. Share, please. Appreciate you.
Ding. Thank you. And that's the show for today.
Boom.
Deuces. Peace up. ATL down. Dun-dun.
No, we did that once before. That's it. We won't be doing ATL every episode. It's not a thing. I'm from Louisiana, loud and proud. The dirty.
All the single ladies.
Well, she's from Texas.
Well, I'll put my hand up.
What are we doing?
I was just singing all the single ladies.
Okay.
I went to
As
her
long as you
concert.
heal.
It was really good.
Is this just random conversation?
Random shit.
Okay.
No, the Beyonce concert. I mean, I've enjoyed all her concerts. Remember, we got
We did.
she puts on the show.
She does.
Damn.
It needs to be cheaper. Sorry.
Well, if you buy it the day of the show, it's cheaper.
How far away were you?
I was in the VIP section in the 300s. It was great seats.
I'm sure.
I will always get those seats.
Okay, because you're paying $130 for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Better than the 500. There was a row right in front of us that was empty. You know why it was empty? Because they were charging $500 for those for one seat. I saw it. I was like, oh, $130 for this one, $500 for that one. I'll go to $130. We show up to the concert. No one bought them. And guess what? It was just boom, bye-bye. We were right there at the front. So that was that.
Yeah.
And it was the bomb.
That's great. I'm hungry.
All right.
Let's transfer this footage.
How do you feel about gender roles in relationships?
She would say that she hates being the man, but I never I never put that on her.
Right.
I think she and I actually, just in terms of gender roles, we trade on and off in terms of what we're good at.
I guess if it was equal, it wouldn't have to be a thing, you know what I mean? Like, everyone should just do their part.
I've deconstructed those a lot because my parents growing up, my dad did a lot of things around the house that I think were stereotypically assigned to like women or like stay-at-home moms.
Okay.
So I felt, so I got to see my dad kind of like break that norm for me. And then in my relationship with Joshua over there, I think when you have like two men or two women or gender non-conforming people in a relationship together, that like you realize there's not a man's job or a woman's job in the role. It's a team effort, and like that can look different for other like different relationships.
I can show up like this and I like to handle certain things, but at the same time, I'm still a woman. I want to be taken care of. Sometimes a little bit.
You want to be treated to the spa day?
Yes. And we need to not like our femme on femme, our mask on mask, stud on stud is beautiful. We need to love all of us in every aspect of that.
Who asked you out?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Yes. When I want something, I'm gonna go and get it.
There's no expectation, so there's
Not in this one.
okay. But you had that in the past.
In the past I did, but I can be strong, so you know, we both can be strong. So it's a nice balance.
Well, I'm assuming. I feel like you probably did the asking, but I could be wrong.
Yes, she did.
Since you don't believe in gender roles, let's talk about expectations in relationships. Do you believe who do you believe should be paying the bill and everything like that when you go out to eat?
In general, I believe it should be the individual who can take the financial responsibility at the time. Because I observe a lot of non-hetero relationships, it makes me feel like it shouldn't necessarily be we're thinking about man versus woman.